order the meeting of the Haverford Township Zoning Hearing Board of Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Present at the front table to my far left is Jessica Vitale, a voting member. Next to Jessica is Ed McGargy, a voting member.
Hello.
My left, Ernie Angelos, our solicitor.
Good evening.
My right, Jesse Poynton, a voting member.
Good evening.
Bill Rhodes is not able to attend tonight. Jess, why don't you lead us in the pledge?
Gary Smith, our zoning officer.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have one new case, Z24-3, Landillo Road Development Partners LLC, owner of 5 Landillo Road, Havertown, PA, DC, folio number 2202-006500, who seeks relief from the provisions of section 182707B to permit 19 off-street parking spaces for 13 apartment units where 26, 2 per unit, are required. Property is zone R4 located in the second ward. Hey, Jeff.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Steigerwald. I'm the owner. Apologize, my attorney couldn't make it tonight, so I'll be presenting on behalf of myself. At this time, I'm requesting the 26 parking spaces in the spirit of what the township originally approved, with the 7 in reserve. Those 7 parking spaces be eliminated to the 19 that are currently being presented in the new parking. I have a couple hardships. The first is...
And before you go down that road, Jeff,
Yes, sir.
I need to swear you in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And with respect to Landillo Road Development Partners, are you the managing member of that LLC?
I am.
Standing good. Good. All right, Jeff.
Good. Thank you, sir. The hardships that I have is, number one, it's a historic building. Moving the building to create different parking is really difficult and not able to occur. And in addition, with the Historic Preservation Act, I think it's the last page, I'll go down because it's up here, that the National Historical Society requested that the intent of the visual aspects and history of the building be intact so that the oval be preserved in its best capabilities for the future. So from a visual standpoint, it still looks like a school, remains the visual aspect of a school as it was throughout the history of its existence since approximately 1905, when the building was finally constructed. Then there was a fire and some other things with the building, and then they reconstructed the building into what it is today. And they kept the cupola and different things from the original and kind of built around the foundation. So at this time, because of those hardships and because we've been occupied for a couple years now, the aspect of the parking, we are always at this point underparked. We have more than enough parking that's available at night during the day that 19 is sufficient at this time. Really, I think that's really what I'm here to present. I don't know how much further or any questions that you have.
Okay. So, Jeff, you were in front of this board. You got approval. You didn't need, and correct me if I misstate any of this.
No, go
because it
ahead.
was a few
That's
years
fine.
now. You didn't need a parking variance. It was determined that you were able to meet the parking requirements based on the facts and circumstances that existed at that time.
At that time,
And then the building was historically certified,
correct,
and that affected your ability to provide the parking spaces.
correct.
So that's why you're here.
Yes,
The
sir.
apartments are all built already and occupied?
All built and occupied for a couple years now.
Okay. Questions? Jess?
Of the 13 apartments, what is the makeup of the apartments?
So there is 8 2-bedroom and 5 1-bedroom.
And you said the parking as it stands right now, the lot is never full.
Never full.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Ed?
Just clarify me on the point of, it wasn't the township's historic commission, it was the state that said you couldn't park out front?
So the township had deemed the building historical. I went through the National Preservation Act to make it a National Historic Landmark. It is that, the national that said that they wanted the front preserved.
So it was the township that moved this forward and caused the hardship, you should say.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Jesse?
So in our packet, there were two plans.
Yes, sir. I can go back up. Which one would you look
yeah.
up, sir?
So why don't you just walk us through what was proposed in 2015 and what's there today, just so we can see it for the record?
If we're going to refer to it.
Yeah, we should, yeah.
Okay, so,
Jeff, 1 second.
yep, no problem. I can also put a board up if it helps the original and then what it is today, if it helps from your visual.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, they're two different, okay.
Jeff, here.
I have the one in the packet.
Refer to these, then you're going to hand them back. Okay. So I wrote exhibit numbers, top right-hand corner of both
Got
of
it.
those plans. So
Okay.
would you just describe what A1 is?
So A1 is the original plan that was approved from the township with the, what I call the grassy knoll area. I don't know how else to describe it. The grassy knoll area, which on the view, A1 has pavers with parking out front. In the plan, right, that's why I kind of want to put this one up. It has the Rs on it. Oh, it doesn't matter. So when we did the plan, the township provided reserved parking spaces 7, and they were the ones out front. So the parking spaces out front were in reserve. The reason being is the property was and is capable of handling, I think the spirit of what the township was trying to do at the time was that 26 parking spaces for the makeup of 5 singles and 2 doubles seemed to be a little bit more than what might be needed. So the idea was, we opened, we were going to see how the parking went. If we needed the parking, we would have to go back, talk to the Historical Society, say we absolutely need it, and would have dealt with it then, and would have built out what was required at that time. But because we had 7 in reserve, the thought process was, let's keep it as is, let's see how it goes, and we've had 2 years plus of no issues whatsoever with parking. We're always
Full occupancy?
we haven't always been fully occupied. Right now, I do have 1 unit, our smallest unit that's not occupied, which goes with 1 car. But we have tenants with multiple cars at the site now, the rest are occupied. So we've had it at full capacity, we've had no problems whatsoever.
All right, so that's what A1 is.
That's A1. So
And how about A2?
So A2 is the proposed. A2, I want to make sure I go the right way, now keeps the oval intact. The little square section that you see there is grass pavers, which will flow into the grassy, quote-unquote, grassy knoll area. The proposal for the parking is up there where 4 will be to the side so that we keep the headlights away from the neighbors across the street, which I think is very kind because they're good people and we don't want to flash them every night. And the 10 are on the side, in addition to the 5 in the back, which have always been there. So the side and the back have always been the same. The only change really comes to the front. And that makes up the 19.
So to clarify, the 4 in the front,
Yes, sir.
do they exist today?
Right now, I'd have to draw it, but the way it exists today, there's actually 2 parking spaces that are facing the house. And if you look at the 3 trees that are at the bottom right corner,
Yes.
next to that is the transformer Pico had me put in. You'll see the dotted line right above that. That's wide enough to have 2 cars parked facing the house across the street. So there's 2 parking spaces there, 1 behind it, and then there's 10 on the side, 5 in the back, and that makes up the current. So actually, technically, by definition, we really have 18 parking spaces there now, but we're going for 19. And we're actually more than able to park that.
Just to make sure that we are clean in the record, because the application isn't necessarily made part of the record yet.
Understood.
You have A1 and A2, which are the 2 plans.
Yes, sir.
But as part of your submission, you have the resolution 1992-215, which I believe is the township's approval of the subdivision land development plan.
Correct.
that references or at least is consistent with your testimony of the 7 additional reserved parking spaces.
Yes, sir.
So maybe that's worth marking as Exhibit A3.
Thank you, sir.
Then I think you testified, obviously, that the building is on the National Register, Historic Registration. So you submitted as part of your application a letter that's dated February 17th from the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission, which lists the property as number 3, Leonard Public School, as one of the properties nominated.
Yes, sir.
Maybe that, just keep it clean, is Exhibit A4. And then A5, as part of what you submitted, is the actual, it looks like a National Registry of Historic Places registration form that identifies the building. Clean record, you might want to identify the A5.
A5.
So at the conclusion of the case,
He doesn't need them.
no, yeah, at the conclusion of the case, I would, yeah, you want to move these into the record.
Here. Here's the original.
Yeah, okay.
All right, anything else, Jess?
You referenced 2 years. When was the last unit sold or rented? Was it 2 years ago, or was it within the last 2 years?
So we went full pretty quickly early on.
And what year was that?
2021. It was right after COVID. We got held up with COVID, and that was a lovely gem of a time, as we all know.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No other questions?
All right. Jess, anything else? Ed?
No.
Anything you'd like to add, Jeff?
No, sir.
Just, you'd like to move Exhibit A1 through A5 into the record?
I would like to move A1 to A5 into the record.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Ed. All right, with that, I'll ask if there's anyone present that received certified mail that wishes to testify? Anyone that received regular mail? Come on. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And your full name and address for the record, please?
Matthew Fenty, 8 Landillo Road.
Sorry, Matthew.
Fenty, Fenty.
What's your address, Matthew?
8 Landillo.
I'm sorry, Matthew, I still didn't get your address.
8 Landillo.
Okay. What would you like to tell us?
I would say I'm in support of this, predicated that if there is a need for Jeff to have more parking, that we think about not having parking in the front, because we'd be facing my house, my neighbor, and Jeff next door. So I haven't had any issues with parking at capacity, any parking in the street, any overflow parking, so I'm supportive of this. And just to make sure that the board is cognizant of, if there is a requirement to have additional parking per code, that be very mindful of the parking that might have to exist in the front of the building.
Okay. Any questions for Matthew, Jess, Ed, Jesse?
So as shown on A2, were you okay with the way that they were depicting the parking on A2? Oh, yeah, if we could put it back up.
That's the present circumstances, isn't it? That's how it is.
No, A2
No,
was proposed.
A2 is the new proposed.
Yes,
You're okay with it as depicted in A2?
yes, because
Thank
I think also he would be addressing some tree issues that's in the front, so I think he'd be adding some trees, addressing that, and then fixing the parking, which is facing Darby.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Any other residents of Haverford Township, please come forward. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Absolutely.
Your full name and address, please.
My name is Jeffrey Weist, W-E-E-S-T. I'm a 60-year resident at 4 Landillo.
What would you like to tell us, Jeffrey?
Kind of just to reinforce what Matt had already said, that living right across the street from it, I'm kind of in opposition of any additional pavers that would have to be directed traffic towards my house. First of all, I think from, again, the historical aspect, the aesthetic aspect, and just the functional aspect would be difficult as a resident there living right across the street from it. People are going to pull in who knows what all hours and it's going to require extra accommodation from Jeffrey's standpoint. But again, it's just one of those things I just prefer not to have it done. And I'm in agreement with that design. If you guys are all well with it, I think that's our best solution.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Questions for Jeffrey? Jess, Ed, Jesse?
No.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Anyone else? Please come forward. And please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address, please?
Laura Conley, Connelly, at 10 Landillo. I agree with the other two. I do think I agree with the plan, and I like that it was one more spot. Currently, it's going to add one more spot. My concern also is the landscaping in the front. I feel like there should be, I hear trees coming down.
So the 3 trees are going in place.
She's
They're
got to
gonna
address,
replace it? Okay.
Jeff, Laura, you need to address the board.
Oh, I'm
And Jeff
sorry.
will listen in to what you're asking or expressing to us, and then he'll come up.
There's a large tree right now which had a big branch that fell off recently, and I heard that the tree is going to be removed, and I just want to make sure something else is going to be there, because otherwise it would just look like a parking lot in front of the building.
Okay.
If we had to have more spots. And also, if you did have to put in more spots, it would be great if they face each other as opposed to the street. So, I just wanted to put my 2 cents.
Any questions for Laura? Jess, Ed, Jesse?
So you're happy with the plan as depicted on A2?
Yes, it's one spot more than what we have right now. We haven't really had an issue. Assuming that we're not going to get, people moving in with 4 cars, it should work.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Jeff? You want to address this tree issue?
Yes, the plan did, we knew about the tree issue, meaning that the tree is older. We had wanted to remove it, and we wanted to put 3 in, but again, I don't want to take anything out until I get approval.
So if you do take it down, you're going to plant another tree or other trees?
3 total, so meaning removing the 1 and 2 more. So 3 in total, replacing the one that's there plus 2.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else you want to add, Jeff?
No, sir.
All right. With that, we'll close the record on this case, and the decision will be rendered this evening. We'll go off the record, Jeff. Other Jeff. We'll resume the meeting of the Haverford Township Zoning Hearing Board of Thursday, February 1st, 2024. With respect to case Z24-3, Jesse, are you prepared to vote?
I am.
Jessica, are you prepared?
Am?
Ed, are you prepared to vote?
Yeah.
And so am I. Ed, would you please take this decision?
Yes, thank you. I vote to approve the requested variance with the following conditions. 1, that the removal of the tree in the front of the property will result in the planting of 3 additional trees, according to notes of testimony. 2, that the project be completed within 1 year, and I believe that's it.
Okay. Jesse?
I agree.
Jessica?
Agree?
And so do I. That application is approved 4-0.
Thank you.
Done.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time, everyone.
You're welcome.
Arlene?
Minutes. Jess? The minutes you want to move?
Yes, we received minutes for both the reorganization meeting and the January 4th meeting, and I would make a motion to move both of those into the record.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any discussion?
No.
All right, the minutes are moved. Any other administrative matters? No? And we have no, I'm not going to jinx it, but I already told you guys, nothing on next time. All right, then we are adjourned.